Tucker Carlson is now spreading all sorts of insane conspiracy theories about what was actually behind the insurrection, the Capitol riots that took place on January 6th. Let's go to this first video where he specifically talks about Putin's opinion on one of the insurrectionists getting shot and unfortunately killed during the chaos.
So because of January 6th, says the chief law enforcement officer in the United States of America and many other members of Joe Biden's cabinet, we must now use law enforcement and military force to arrest, imprison, and otherwise crush anyone who leads opposition to Joe Biden's government. That's their position. They say that out loud. They did today. We are living through the transformation of a formerly democratic republic into something else. We're looking at growing authoritarianism. That's not an overstatement. Vladimir Putin knows authoritarian systems very well, and he sees clearly what is happening in this country. Watch this.
Did you order Alexei Navalny's assassination?
Of course not. We don't have this kind of habit of assassinating anybody. That's one. Number two is, I want to ask you, did you order the assassination of the woman who walked into the Congress and who was shot and killed by a policeman? Do you know that 450 individuals were arrested after entering the Congress, and they didn't go there to steal a laptop? They came with political demands.
Okay, so yeah, we just played tape of Vladimir Putin. Now, under normal circumstances, we would never play tape of a foreign adversary criticizing our government. But honestly, those are fair questions. Who did shoot Ashli Babbitt, and why don't we know? Are anonymous federal agents now allowed to kill unarmed women who protest the regime? That's okay now?
Law enforcement shoots and kills extrajudicial killings of ordinary civilian citizens on a daily basis if they dare question the authority of the cops. That happens all the time. In this particular case, we're talking about a group of people who broke into the Capitol building violently, okay, despite what some media figures purportedly on the left would have you believe, okay, and caused all sorts of damage. Violently responded to Capitol Police. This woman, Ashli Babbitt, look, I wish that there was a way that they could have restrained her and prevented that shooting from happening. But he used the word ordered the assassination. Ordering the assassination would imply that this was a predetermined decision. There was no predetermined decision. You have Ashli Babbitt trying to break into, I believe it was the House floor, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been the Senate floor, but it doesn't matter. She's in the process of climbing through that door, right? They had broken the window of that door to climb in it, and she got shot. And it's unfortunate, I wish it didn't happen, but to equate that to what an authoritarian regime like Russia's authoritarian regime would do is ridiculous. Yeah. And to play sound from Vladimir Putin, pretending as if he's like this great guy who believes in democracy and fairness and protest. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, look, if you want to have a debate about whether the police should release the name of the cop that did it, that's fine.
Sure.
That doesn't make what Putin said there a fair question. Putin, he just has legitimate concerns that he was expressing. No, he was trying to distract from assassinations that his government has routinely ordered. That's all he was doing. It's the exact opposite of a fair question. It's an unfair question, actually. Anyway. Look, it's just utter not, like, he doesn't care. Tucker doesn't care about any of this. He's not interested in any of this.
No, he is interested in it. He is interested in it because he wants to launder the Republican Party and their role in what happened in our nation's capital that day.
Sure, but
he is interested in
what he doesn't care about is the truth. So now he's worried about that we're being unfair to the protesters. A couple months ago, they were Antifa that were breaking down the door. Suddenly they're not Antifa anymore. What I'm saying is that all of the facts about it are totally contingent. Is this signaling, a different approach that he's going to have when cops brutalize BLM protesters in the future? Are we supposed to believe that? No. Does he have a problem with cops trying to run through crowds of protesters? When there was that protester, I don't remember if it was in Oregon, if it was in Washington, I apologize, I don't remember. He had shot someone, and rather than going and getting him, they gunned him down in the streets. An extrajudicial execution that Trump talked about favorably afterward. Did Tucker have a problem with that?
Of course not, of course not.
So this is all just nonsense. Anyway, continue.
But it's not, okay, so obviously he's lying. Obviously there's a double standard and they'll change their commentary or their take depending on the political affiliations of the people that are being discussed, right? So if we're talking about Black Lives Matter, if we're talking about protesters on the left being brutalized, which by the way happened quite often under Trump, that's okay, that's totally fine. But when we're talking about the Capitol, I mean, this woman wasn't outside of the Capitol, part of a rally, and she was climbing into a room where lawmakers were, right? Luckily, they were able to escape before anyone really posed a threat to them. But I mean, it's madness, it's absolute insanity. And by the way, the lunacy continues with this conspiracy theory. Watch.
Strangely, some of the key people who participated on January 6th have not been charged. Look at the documents. The government calls those people unindicted co-conspirators. What does that mean? Well, it means that in potentially every single case, they were FBI operatives. Really, in the Capitol on January 6th. For example, one of those unindicted co-conspirators is someone government documents identify only as person 2. According to those documents, person 2 stayed in the same hotel room as a man called Thomas Caldwell, an insurrectionist, a man alleged to be a member of the group, the Oath Keepers. Person 2 also, quote, stormed the barricades at the Capitol on January 6th alongside Thomas Caldwell. The government's indictments further indicate that Caldwell, who by the way is a 65-year-old man, this dangerous insurrectionist, was led to believe there would be a, quote, quick reaction force also participating on January 6th. That quick reaction force, Caldwell was told, would be led by someone called Person 3, who had a hotel room and an accomplice with him. But wait, here's the interesting thing. Person 2 and Person 3 were organizers of the riot. The government knows who they are, but the government has not charged them. Why is that? You know why. They were almost certainly working for the FBI. So FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, according to government documents.
What government documents? What government? No, I guess this is just the strain that binds the right wing together, right? Conspiracies about the CIA and the FBI, right? Like that's an internet troll utters nonsense like that. In fact, there is an internet troll who uttered nonsense like that and bragged about feeding those talking points to Tucker Carlson. One more video, John, sure. And then you jump in. Let's watch.
It is overwhelming, the evidence that criminal elements of the federal government provocateured and staged January 6th. And I saw it coming. I warned people they were going to pull a false flag. And of course, the police were put in the middle of it, undermanned by design. This was a psychological warfare operation to manipulate a crowd. And President Trump was set up, I was set up. And I've been saying that since the day it happened. I had been working with other folks to get the information, obviously, out to the great Tucker Carlson. And Tucker did a really splendid job last night. So I'm going to air the entire 15-minute monologue coming up.
It's crazy.
No, but John just said it's crazy. It's not crazy. I'm not surprised in the least bit.
No, I mean the airing a full 15-minute monologue. That's crazy.
That is
Dude,
crazy, yeah.
Put together a rundown, seriously.
I'll give it to Alex Jones though. He mentioned psyops and manipulating a crowd. He and his ilk certainly know a lot about that with their troll farms. So don't be fooled by that, especially on places like Twitter. Go ahead.
Yeah, by the way, first of all, if they had succeeded and killed Mike Pence and put Trump back in charge, he would be cheering about them. Like, oh, I warned that it was gonna be a false flag. That's what I warned. No, like, dude, it was pathetic. It failed. That's why you're against it now. Wait, I thought it was Antifa. Again, no, it wasn't Antifa. It was just some Trump fans that got whipped up into a frenzy by the FBI now. So again, it's always something different, but I'm not so interested in Alex Jones. With the Tucker Carlson though, so he starts off by saying, is it possible that these unindicted co-conspirators are FBI? And 2 minutes later he said, it was organized by the FBI. He talked himself into, no, it's definitely the FBI, even though that's not how anything works. They're unindicted co-conspirators, not because they were the FBI, but because they're cooperating with investigators right now. They're ratting on other people that were involved, and that's why their name is not being put in there. But even aside from that, that's the craziest part. But he said that guy Caldwell is 65. He's an insurrectionist. He's scary. You just described how he thought there would be a quick reaction force that would be working with them. And you want us to believe that it wasn't an insurrection. They were just simple protesters who thought a quick reaction force would be assisting them as they break into the building. That doesn't sound like a tourist who's staying within the lines. That sounds like someone who thinks they've got force that's going to take over this whole thing. So he's undercutting his own argument literally as he's spinning this nonsense.
100%. And there is a way to look into what actually transpired in a bipartisan way. It's called a commission, which, to be quite honest with you, I had been against because I'm worried about what the results will be of that commission, like what the proposed solutions will be. I'm worried about.
You don't want another Patriot Act.
I don't want another Patriot, exactly, yes. Right? However, I'm starting to really warm up to it because that commission would be made up of independent investigators. Those investigators would be a 50-50 split between Democrats and Republicans, picking who will serve on the commission and serve as investigators. So that takes the bias or partisanship out of it. Why is it that Republicans don't want a full-blown investigation into that?
Yeah.
Why? If they're so concerned that there's some deep state conspiracy taking place, why wouldn't they want independent investigators looking into it? Could it be that they're making up like insane conspiracy theories, literally regurgitating stuff from
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones of all people? Like, have some self-respect. Like, I get what Tucker Carlson is. I get what the point of his show is. I know he's a propagandist and all of that. But can you at least have a little bit of self-respect and not regurgitate nonsense from the likes of Alex Jones?
Yeah.
I mean, how low is this guy willing to go?
Well, we're finding out every day. Really fast, you're warming up to a commission, not to a Patriot Act, lest people take that out of context for their own purposes. Obviously, she doesn't want that. But the obvious isn't always obvious to everyone. But yeah, it's complete and utter nonsense. He has been playing defense for the insurrectionists this entire time because he wishes it had succeeded and he's a fan of it happening again. That's all it is. His show is designed to make people not worried about white supremacists, to think that it's not so bad, to think that it's not a big problem. That's what Tucker Carlson is.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.